What's up, guys? This is Jakob. I'm content manager, content AI manager, and I'm helping small and medium enterprises with their content strategy. And I'm the host of the Content AI show, where I speak with developers, with investors, with content creators, with founders who are within the AI space. And I'm very proud and very happy to speak today with Erwin Lima. He's brand storyteller, he's content strategist, he's an author, and most importantly, he's the co-founder of an awesome tool called Storylab.ai. So we are going to speak very deeply about Storylab today. But first of all, welcome, Erwin. Thank you for your time and thank you for being on my show.
Thank you so much, Jakob. Thank you so much for that great introduction, and thanks so much again for having us on.
Yes, very excited because I'm always looking for people and tools and things, and I recognized you through a comment. So you commented, Storylab commented on one of my posts, and I'm always looking, okay, who's this person? Who is this company? Why are they liking it? And I quickly recognized, okay, these guys are also in the AI space, and
Yep.
and that's awesome. So before we go into the space and into the topic of AI, can you quickly introduce yourself? So who are you, and what's your passion?
Yeah. My name is Erwin Lima. I am a Dutch content strategist and author, as you said. I have, I think, more than 10 years of experience in the marketing space. And
Awesome.
in those 10 years, I've worked mainly in the area of IT and tech. And I'm specializing more and more towards brand storytelling. And Storylab AI is one of the platforms and projects that I'm currently invested in. We're going to get a little bit deeper into that. So I think that's enough for now, right?
Yeah. So love it already. And Storylab is a big topic in my opinion. But before we jump into the space of AI, can you just go back and remember your first memories when it comes to AI? What was one of the first memories that you had in particular with AI?
Wow, that's a cool question. One of the first memories I've had with AI is probably a few years back. I don't know, it must have been 2015, 16, something like that. I mentioned, I've been working in the marketing space in tech and IT for a few years, and I used to write about trends in tech and IT, and I think it was probably about six-ish years ago, AI really popped up on my radar, and it was like interesting back then to see the first kind of projects coming out in that space, which were interesting. The first kind of algorithmic based things that we didn't necessarily realize companies were already using, like tools that we were using daily. We're obviously already using these capabilities, and it was interesting to dive into that then. And what I did afterwards was this really cool series of interviews with you might say trendsetters, visionaries in the IT tech space in the Netherlands, which we called Fast Forward 2020, we called it. And it was a series of interviews with, I think, 20 people in that space, where I really got into talking about, well, what would the future of tech, but also by extension of business and by extension of that, of all of our lives, look like in the future because of AI. And that was really, really, really interesting to me. And like as a kid, I used to be really into Star Trek and other sci-fi stuff.
Yeah,
And
cool.
it was partially because it made me wonder about what the future might look like and what it might all mean, all of the different kind of technological developments that we see in the world. And this is something in terms of AI, it's keeping me on my toes, and it keeps triggering my imagination, so to speak.
Yeah, love it. That's cool. Just a follow up. You interviewed these people, and if you say after, 6 years, you said, how were the predictions? So 90% became true, or 100%, or only 20%? Just
Oh,
curious.
that's a great follow-up question.
Yeah.
So there were 20 interviews. They were more than an hour long. They were really, really deep. So there were a lot of
Yes.
predictions made. So what I did afterwards was I tried to distill out of all those interviews and all those predictions, like what are the top 3 or top 5 things that people are really saying if you read between the lines. And what I came up with was that it's not necessarily what the technology is going to do, and it's not necessarily what capabilities technologically we will have. It's about how are we going to use the technology. And what really popped out to me after that sort of meta-analysis, if you will, is that it was not about are we gonna have AI assistants, or is everything gonna be IoT and edge capacitated. It was about, to what extent do you as an individual person, or do you as a company know what your purpose is and what your grander goal in this world is? And to what extent, if you know that, or if you don't know that, to what extent are you able to self-direct your own future? And to what extent are you able to communicate in an authentic way to other people what your vision is and what your purpose is and how you're going to get there? And below that, I would say, falls all of what we can do with technologies, with integrations, with AIs, with blockchain, you name it. And so really it was about self-reflection, self-direction, and purpose. And that's really what I've been focusing on in my career and my writing also over the last years. And that's really what it's about, if you ask me.
Yeah, awesome. Love it. So already so many points inside. So I also see technology as what it is. It is technology which enables us, helps us in our daily life, in our daily business life, or in our private life.
Yep.
Because all these negative predictions about AI and things like that, maybe we can also talk about this. So predictions that people have, or negative connotations when they hear AI. So there are many out there, but also would hear what you think about this. So if you could tackle one of these these misconceptions, what would it be in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a difficult one, because there's a lot of things to think about. There's a lot of potential, I would say, potentially real danger and potential real risk involved in. Oh, there goes my camera. Sorry about that.
Yes, no worries.
Can you see me all right again?
Yes,
I think so.
everything perfect.
So, one of them, I think, which is really interesting, which is something that my wife brought up actually when we were talking about Storylab in the beginning stages of us starting the company. She said, "But isn't it dangerous that you would help people to create stories with the help of AI in such a way that they could not do it themselves? Isn't that a dangerous thing in the aspect of taking away from people developing their own creativity and developing their own skill set?" And this is something that I heard, and we debated, and it even actually got a little bit of a heated debate at one point. And this is something that we at Storylab try to take into account. Like, with all these risks involved in technology and involved in AI, I feel it's good to realize that it is a risk, and it's good to think about, okay, how can we mitigate that? So when we talk about Storylab, when we talk about AI-assisted content creation and story creation, it really is about assisted. It's not about the AI creating the story for you. It's not about the AI doing all the work and you just sitting back and waiting for it to pop up with great stories. It's about making the process a little bit easier for you and faster for you, and being able to create things at scale in such a way that you as a human on your own could not. But it's also definitely for us as Storylab, it's really about helping you become a better writer with the help of AI, and actually, instead of taking away from your creativity, triggering you and stimulating you to grow your creativity and facilitate you in your development of that. So is that kind of a cool answer to your question?
Yeah, definitely. Yes, and I always, if somebody say we had a discussion, and it was very hot. I always want the details, especially with. I mean, I'm also married, and when my wife says something, I'm really deeply thinking about it, and appreciate you being so open and sharing this. That's
cool.
That's cool. That's cool. Yes. So to some degree, what always pops up is this thing of it's unethical. So, and I mean, why should I put my name under something that is completely AI produced? But I don't see it as a something, because when I'm using AI assistants, I'm not copy pasting everything 100%. So
Yep.
I have to check everything because
Absolutely.
otherwise I have a problem. So it's an assistant, and like the name says, it's assisting me, helping me to produce content on scale. That's how I also see it. Yes.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah. Cool.
Absolutely. And what is it you said? You said something. You have to check it. That's like one of the tenets of our communication of our story as Storylab is it's about getting the maximum out of what AI, what technology has to offer, and getting the maximum out of what you as a human being have to offer, and making the total product bigger and more than the sum of parts in that sense. And it's really about combining the two. And absolutely 100%, like we don't even most of our products, most of our tools, we don't even make it possible for you to rip a bit of AI generated copy, because the way that the product works, most of the time it's asking you to do a little bit of the thinking yourself. And we're also constantly trying to remind people that whatever content you get out of the generators, you want to check that, you want to edit that, you want to add your own human magic to the magic that AI provides. And that's when you see the real magic happening, you know?
Yes. So magic is the real keyword, because AI is very good in creating paragraphs who define these what, where, who questions. So these basic definitions and things like that. But an AI assistant can't write a personal story that I lived in the past. That's not possible. So when I'm creating newsletter or things like that, I do it. I have to do it myself, and I see an AI writer as an assistant who gives me 60% or 70% of the content that I'm going to create. But always, like you said, you have to check it. Yeah, awesome.
For sure. Yeah.
Cool. So you already mentioned it, Storylab. So let's speak a little bit about Storylab.ai. So can you explain why you co-founded, why you founded this company? So what was the main motivation?
The main motivation for me, and I would say for my co-founders as well, is we want to help people who want to create content, who are either in marketing and have needs for creating copy and content like that, or could be a content creator like a blogger or someone who's very active on social media, or just an entrepreneur that has to create the content to market their own business by themselves. We wanted to make that easier for people, and we felt very much that AI was a way to do that. AI generated content was a way to do that, and we also felt that when we looked at the space of AI generated content and copy, our feeling was that there's much more that we could offer people in terms of not just getting more content faster, but also really helping you to become a better storyteller with the help of AI. And that's what we're trying to do. Like our expertise is in marketing. Mine is specifically in storytelling, content creation, copywriting, and authoring. My buddies, my co-founders, one is like a really strong digital marketer, an expert in all of the other areas, I would say, of digital marketing that are not necessarily about storytelling, but everything else you need to boost and maximize the reach and the impact and the effect that you can have with the stories you create. And the other one is somebody with like a miles-long track record also in digital marketing that understands strategy, and it understands how to work in teams. It understands how to set up the funnels, and how to set up the structures, and how to set up the processes inside a team to make something work. And so we felt like with that background, with that knowledge that we have combined with what AI can do, we could really create something special, which is what we're promising is to help you create more content faster, but then also help you become a better storyteller along the way. And our vision for that is that we all believe that what human beings want, essentially, and what businesses want is to grow towards a certain purpose, towards a certain vision. And in order to grow like that, what we all need is to be able to connect to other people. And one of the main things that we use to connect to other people is to create stories. So that's why helping people create more and better stories is a wonderful way that we feel we can help the world.
Yeah, awesome. So, what is the technology behind? So, GPT-3, is that the technology behind the text production?
Yep,
Okay,
100%.
cool.
That's what we're using, and yeah, that's it.
Cool. And can you you mentioned already the co-founder. So you're three founders, and can you tell a little bit more about your team? So how big is it? Where are they located? Is it internationally? So that would be also interesting.
Yeah, so we're three of us, three guys. We're located all in the Netherlands. We're all, I would say, internationally oriented. All of us have worked in international settings. We're not all originally Dutchies, and most of us have written in the online content space about marketing and about tech a lot for international platforms in English. So that's kind of our orientation is international English speaking. That's also the way the platform works right now. Is it's not yet possible to create content in other languages than English at this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're three guys right now. We're bootstrapped for the moment, just trying to build out a product that works, that we can have like a 95% confidence in what the tool is actually giving people. That we're trying to really start having conversations with people that are actually using it, so we know what they're looking for, what their needs are, but also to what extent and how well is the tool actually catering to those needs, and grabbing that feedback to try to improve the tool technically, and also improve what we're offering in terms of content and guidance insofar as we're doing that right now. And we're really slowly, steadily building this thing together, the three of us for now.
That's cool. Really cool. So it's a software as a solution company, right? A SaaS company?
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm logging in, and then I can choose my topic and also the target audience and things like that. And then the AI can create content for example, social media, or can create a blog article. Is it like that?
Yeah, well, you can't create the AI will not create an entire blog article for you. What we do is we do headlines, and we do intros, and we do outlines. So, and one of the coolest, I think, the coolest functionalities that we have is what we call a blog story, where you, like you say, you log into the tool, and the tool asks you to talk about what topic do you want to write about. So you will enter maybe 2-3 words describing the topic, and then the tool will ask you to give it 1 or 2 more lines of like context. Can you explain a little bit more about the idea you want to talk about, or can you explain a little bit more about the product or service or company you want to talk about? And then you click inspire me, and what the storyline generator does, it gives you a couple of options in terms of headlines. So these are 5 headlines that you might want to use, and if you click one of those headlines, it goes into the editor, and it will show you an intro, and it would also show you an outline. Sometimes it will give you ideas for 3 or 5 paragraphs, sometimes 7 or more. And what that, like, the main thing that it does, it helps you along in the process of story creating, and it helps you along in such a way that you're not staring at a blank piece of paper, but instead you've got something to start off with. And next to blog headlines, outlines, and intros, we also do ready-made content for ads, for instance, for Facebook ads or Google ads, which obviously you could repurpose as social media content for your caption, for instance.
Yeah, that's cool. Awesome. So we already have some comments. So Erwin Gümüşü, I hope I pronounced your name the correct way. He commented, Fred, for you interested. I hope Fred is also looking. And we also have Raul Tiro. Great story. Thank you guys for your comments. So if you have any questions to us, just let us know. If you want to ask Erwin a specific question, you can just type it into the comment under this video, and I will give it to him, and we will answer your questions. Hopefully, awesome. So, can we maybe focus more on the storytelling aspect? So, can I, for example, if I'm a company, I'm a medium enterprise company, and I want to rebrush my website and want to tell my brand story, and Storylab AI is helping me with finding my own story, my unique story. That's possible.
It is possible, but for now, you would have to more or less repurpose some of the generators for that.
Hmm.
Helping you tell your brand story is actually one of the things that is pretty high on our backlog list, if you will. This is something that specifically is one of my specialties as a storyteller and as
Yeah.
a writer is really helping you tell your brand story. Pretty soon we'll be publishing a couple of stories about well, first of all, how do you tell your brand story in an easy way. So these are like a few things that you need to think about, a few questions that you need to think about, and here's a template for how to then tell that story. But then also, we're going to be publishing stories about how to fill out those pieces of your story using Storylab as it is right now. A little bit further along in the future, what we're thinking about creating, what we're actually working on in the background, but
Hmm.
is fairly uh, challenging to create, will be a generator that will help you through that process of answering those questions about your company and about your brand, and then filling those out into a template that gives you the start of that story. And it could give you a couple of options where you can say, hey, this has the tone, and this has the style, and this has that feeling that I want my brand to have. And then obviously then you can edit that. So this is something that we're in the process of developing. It's on our roadmap, but it's a challenging thing to build, it turns out.
Hmm. Hmm.
And again, we don't want to focus on creating completely ready-made content for you. What's more important to us is for you to become a better storyteller yourself. So that's why also we're going to be publishing the stories that help you create that for yourself, and then we're going to slowly build that into the tool as well.
Uh,
So this is
so
really something that we're building towards for the future, as are
yeah.
a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah, I like it. I like it. I mean, I'm always also asking about the vision, and this is already mapping out the vision for Storylab AI,
Yep,
and I like it.
cool.
So combining the technology and also the own magic, and yeah. But what kind of questions would you give somebody who wants to work on their own story, on their company story when they want to create something? What,
Yeah,
maybe two or three? You don't have to give them all, but
yeah, sure.
two questions. Yeah.
Yeah, so the main things to really start off with is either you as an entrepreneur or founder, or the founders of an existing company, when they started out with the company, there's a really important question: is what were you looking at in the world that you felt needed to change,
Hmm.
as is related to the company that you founded. What is something in your space or your sector that you felt was not as it was supposed to be or as it could be? What did you see that you wanted to change? That's really one of the more fundamental questions. Another one is what were you inherently good at? What did you already have a track record in? What were people telling you that you were good at before you founded this company? And another one, I would say, and these are all about the beginning stages, right? I talk about the storytelling structure of need, solution, result, which we're focusing on need right now, and then solution is talking about, well, your solution, obviously your brand promise or your actual products and services, and result talks about your end vision, the future, what the role of your brand or organization will be in that future, and also what the end result will be for people, customers, clients that have worked with you or that have used your services and products. What will that end up doing for them? But now we're
Hmm.
focusing on the first phase, need. So what did you as a founder or founders see in the world that you wanted to change? What were the things that you were good at? What were the capabilities that you bring to the table? And then a really important one is also as a person. Like this is talking about the psychology of you as a founder, and thereby also the psychology of you as a brand. Is what what triggered you? What made you feel like, oh, this is something that I really want to change in this world? And this is speaking to purpose, which is a fundamental aspect of any brand story, I feel, combined with with that thing that you wanted to change? What is it? What is it that really drove you? That really triggered you? And these are some questions that you want to answer, and you want to map out the answers to, and then you want to fill them into a neat storyline structure, where it starts with what the world looked like at first, and then it talks about in order to change those things, these are the solutions that we're offering, and at the end, in the result piece, you will talk about, and this is what it will end up changing in the world.
Mhm. Mhm. Awesome. Love it. So I have to write it down and do the exercise for myself, I think.
Yeah,
That's
but
awesome.
no
Cool.
worries. I'll set up, because I'm working on that story as we speak, and I will get it posted on our website ASAP, and I'll send you the link. No problem.
That would be awesome. Yeah, would appreciate
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Thanks. That's cool. So yes, so you are deep within the AI space. What trends do you see for the coming year or years, or so to say? Not, it doesn't have to be 2022, but it can be also a long version, maybe until 2030. What trends do you see within the content AI space, or it can be also in general the AI space? I mean, content AI is one niche, so to say.
Mhm.
What do you think will change, or what will happen?
So there's a couple of things in there, and I want to get this clear. So I'm giving you the answer that you're looking for. You talk about threats, and you talk about what things will change in the future years, right? Did I
Yes.
get that correctly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and when you're talking about threats, what do you mean exactly? Threats to whom or to what?
So, for example, I asked this question another content AI entrepreneur like you, who's a founder, and he spoke about regulations. So there will be, in his opinion, because of fake news, there will from government side more regulation to
Hmm.
content AI produced to AI produced content, so that you have, for example, have to write down, okay, this is AI produced, that you're legally forced
Hmm.
to mention that this is not a post by Erwin or by Jakob. This is created by an AI, yeah, and then the company name, something like this. So I would not say especially threat, but maybe changes, maybe some kind of regulations that we as entrepreneurs maybe have to face, things like this. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see what I see as a threat or changes. Um, well, there have been talks about taxing companies like ours,
Mhm.
that use AI to create value and to create profits, from the starting point, from the thought of that it's competing with human capital in the workplace,
Mhm.
and human capital in the workplace that is also creating value it needs to be taxed, and the AI workforce creating value in the workspace and in business needs to be taxed as well. And I would say that could be a threat, because there have been some precedents that would make it not unimaginable that taxes like that will become a real thing
Mhm.
in the foreseeable future. Another threat, which I think is not a threat necessarily to us in the AI space, but definitely to the world at large, when we're talking about AI, is the spread of fake news and people using
Yeah.
AI in non-ethical ways. Now, the AI that we at Storylab use, which is GPT-3, is thoroughly invested in defending against that and in protecting the technology from being used in that way. And we have an agreement with the people at OpenAI and GPT-3 that we are legally bound to do whatever we can to protect our technology and our platform from being used in a non-ethical way. But more than that and above that, we are personally dedicated to that, because we really feel that, as with all new powerful technologies, it's really important to guide the development and the dispersion and the use of that technology in the world to be forced for good as much as
Hmm.
possible. That's really something that we're focused on. That's important to us, and that we want to get deeper into to see how we can do more than what we're already doing in that respect. Um, yeah, I think those are probably the main things that I'm thinking about right now.
What do we just a quick follow up? I mean, maybe threat was the wrong word, but for example, GPT-4. What do you think about launching GPT-4? Do you have any ideas about this one?
Um, Not necessarily. This is a space that we're following. It's not. I forget the name, but there was another really big natural language processing AI that was recently announced that takes into account even more basic data than GPT-3 does. The launch of
Okay.
GPT-4 as well is interesting to keep tabs on it and to see what's going on there,
Yeah.
and to wonder about at what point will we feel that it's necessary or wise to update our AI integration to a newer version or a smarter version?
Yeah.
Um, but at this time, I'm not seeing any how would you say fundamental breakthroughs in natural language processing AIs coming our way very soon. So
Yeah.
they're smarter and bigger, but not fundamentally different to an extent that I say, well, this is why this is super important for us to focus on our next step in technology in that area.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is
Okay.
are there any on your radar that you feel that we should be taking notice of?
I think GPT-4 will be interesting because I can't imagine something better than GPT-3 because I think it is already very stable and gives good results in my opinion
Yeah.
and excited. Yeah, there was this discussion if it will be already launched this year or beginning of next year. So I'm very excited about this one. But other than that, I've, I I would agree to you. I don't think it will be a fundamental change, but I
Mm,
think it will be an interesting change that I'm
sure.
following up. And yeah, that's basically it. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
cool. Yeah. If just go crazy, if you had all the resources, time and money would not be important, how would you change your product? In which direction would you go, and what would you do additionally? Maybe we already spoke about the creation of a story, but
Yeah.
other than that, what would you add to your product?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things that we're working on, and also a couple of things that are on our roadmap. Just to speak to a few real quick, one is a deep integration of data
Mhm.
in such a way that our tool can actually give you real-time feedback on the content that you're creating in our editor, in terms of effectivity of that content. So there's already a few tools out there, and we're looking at maybe integrating one of those tools that will tell you the clickability of a headline, for instance, from real-time data. But there's so much more that you could do if you could imagine. This is something that one of my co-founders is really excited about, and I completely agree. If you imagine, our tool makes it possible for you to create Google headlines and or Google ad headlines and Google ad copy. Now
Mhm.
imagine that you could connect the copy that you're creating from the editor in copy Storylab AI all the way down to your Google Ads analytics dashboard, where it could predict from the actual data that people are
Mhm.
the actual audience that is looking at your Google Ads is doing. It can connect that data back to what you're creating real time. That will make our tool so much more effective and so much more powerful in helping you not only create more content, but actually better content in terms of making more effective content, because this is what people are actually clicking on. And this is
Yeah.
what's actually happening when they click it. So that's one of the avenues is long-term integration of data to give you real-time feedback on the effectiveness of your copy. Another one is what we're doing right now is in terms of helping you become a better writer is we're offering content and we're offering guides and we're offering checklists that you can use, or you can even like literally put up on half of the screen as you're writing in Storylab to guide you to create better content yourself. What would be really cool in the future, and this is also something that's on our roadmap, is to have more of that guidance and those templates and those best practices for storytelling integrated in the tool. So you can imagine in terms of UX, it could be more kind of conversational. It could be giving you pop-ups as you write, and it could give you advice as you write. Like, have you thought about this? We see that you're using this. We're kind of like Grammarly. Have you used Grammarly or something like that in Hemingway?
Yeah.
And so that will be something that will be really awesome if inside the tool we could be actually teaching you and guiding you to become a better writer as you go along. And this is something that's also really high on my personal wish list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it. So the first one that you mentioned, so about effectiveness, I had contact with Neuroflash. That's a German
Neuroflash?
company.
Yeah.
Neuroflash, yeah. That's a German company, I think German based, but they're internationally. So what they are doing is, for example, you're giving a headline or ad copy of your Facebook ad, and it gives you how are people feeling about this copy. So it's in real time, so to say, feedback of the copy that you created.
Awesome.
And how people are feeling about it. And if they feel something negative, I mean, they are basically, it depends on your campaign, but they are most often will not click on it. But you can, so to say, check what are users feeling, and you can also target it. But I don't know about integration, but this is something that I thought about when you spoke about this vision. Maybe this could be also interesting. Yeah.
Super interesting. I'll be sure to check it out for sure. I just made a note of that. Sounds great. Sounds really interesting. I wonder if they, because the name Neuroflash kind of makes you want to assume almost that they've used some kind of database made up out of neural imaging of what happens when people see certain words or certain combinations of words, or that they're using something kind of more real time about what's happening on the web, or maybe a combination of those. It makes me think. So it's interesting. Or do you know the answer to that question? Maybe?
No, that's a technical detail. So I was in contact with the older CEO, but they switched now. I wanted to have him on my show, but then he rescheduled, and there were a couple of changes, so I couldn't ask him these questions.
Cool.
But I would also love to speak about these questions with him in person.
Yeah.
But we will see. I can't say the correct answer. Sorry for that.
No worries, not at all. I was just wondering. It really makes me think. So it's cool. It's cool that you mentioned that.
It's a cool question. It's a good question. Yeah. So you're already here on this show. Can you recommend somebody for this show who is within the content AI space who would be also a good fit? So somebody who's like you, a founder, and would love to be on camera on stage.
I am in contact with somebody, because I noticed that you were going to ask that question. I'm in contact with somebody who's not a founder per se, but is a part of an organization that helps facilitate debate and networking effects around AI startups in Rotterdam in the Netherlands. And as soon as I get more of a definitive answer from that person, I will recommend them to you, if that's okay.
That's cool.
You.
Yeah, sure. Love it. I appreciate it.
So he's a really cool guy. He's been in the space of data analysis for, I think, at least 5 years or more. First as an IT consultant, and now doing different things. And he's part of this kind of open research debate group, doing really cool stuff. And as soon as I hear back from him, I will get back to you, Jacob.
That's awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. So if people want to get in contact with you, where should they go to find more information about Storylab AI?
Yeah, so to get in contact with me, you could just go on LinkedIn and search for Erwin Lima. If you go on Twitter, you look for Lima_right, so you'll find me. To find out more about Storylab, obviously go to www.storylab.ai. and you can read much more about our platform. You can read on the About page what we're about. And if you scroll down the page, you can find actually our content library where we speak more in depth about what we're doing, what we're trying to offer, and how you can become a better storyteller yourself. So I would say Storylab.ai is the main resource for that.
Okay, awesome. So it was really a pleasure. I was really looking forward to this conversation, and I would not say I had a high expectation, but yeah, I had some expectations, but you fulfilled them 100%. So I'm
That's
very
cool. That's nice to hear.
very glad about the answers, and very happy that I spoke with you today. So anything last to share with the community? Something that you want to give?
Yeah, what I want to give, I want to give and I want to ask something. The thing I want to give is we're offering a free ebook on our website. We're calling it a microbook, and it's a book that I wrote, and I feel that it gives you a lot of really, really basic, really fundamental principles of storytelling. So if you want to get better at storytelling, you can find it on our website. Either wait for the pop-up to come up and ask you if you want the microbook, or scroll down the page. Go to our blog and you can find it there. So that's what I'm offering. What I'm asking is for people to please go to Storylab AI and test out the product and tell us how it's working for you. Because at this point, it's really important for us to get as much feedback as possible for people actually using the product. We're getting a bunch of feedback right now, but more feedback for us right now is better. So we can create a better product and a better experience.
Awesome. So they get the book also on Storylab AI, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I will also subscribe.
Cool.
Cool. So it was a pleasure. Thank you for your time, Erwin, and hope to see you soon again, and maybe to another episode. You don't know.
Yeah. Jakub, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed the conversation. Great questions. On behalf of Storylab, thank you so much for inviting us, and please let's stay in touch. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cool. Bye.